Chris Billam-Smith, how are you?
Very well, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because we had a chat a couple of weeks ago, and we said, right, let's do an interview. Going to be fighting at the Vitality, but we didn't know who your opponent was going to be. Next time we talked, it's only Lawrence Okoli. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, it's a fight that makes total sense. Really, it's a business. You know, there's a great story behind it. We know each other really well, so it's it's one of those where when you take a step back and look at it, it makes perfect sense for everyone involved, I think. And you know, fighting for a world title is always going to be against a hard challenger. At least this is against somebody who me and my team know very well.
What's it like to be fighting at the Vitality? You're Bournemouth absolutely mad. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's, you know, I spend a lot of time on my own in London, and now and again I'll just I'll think about it, and I'll just be it's just madness. I don't think it's going to really hit me until fight week, to be honest. But yeah, you know, I'm just trying to focus on the fight itself and what I've got to do. But yeah, I've visualised that ring walk a few times, and yeah, it'd be an amazing experience, and it's an absolute honour for me. And it's all because of the amazing fans that we've had down there for the last two fights, and the support of the club.
Who are your Bournemouth heroes? How far do you go back with Bournemouth?
I had a season ticket when I was 12, 13, so 2002 to 2004 seasons. So that sort of, those memories are very fond memories then, when we beat Lincoln in the playoff final 5-2. But I wasn't at the game. I couldn't make it because I was only 13 at the time, so I wasn't allowed to call the shots. And we had a family gathering that weekend. I remember watching it on TV at my family's house. So yeah, no, it's all that, you know. I mean, obviously Steve Fletcher for me, he's obviously a club legend, still at the club. But the North Stand where I used to sit is now named after him. Yeah, and that was a great times. You know, James Hayter, obviously I was there when he scored his hat trick in 142 seconds. So yeah, that era was huge for me. Obviously Eddie Howe at the time was, I don't know if it was that year or a bit later, but he was sort of coming into the fray and as on loan, I believe he was at the time. Yeah, obviously he was hit with a few injuries, but he was playing for the club. So yeah, and then obviously got to meet him a little bit when he was managing as well.
It's been an incredible story, Bournemouth. I think people almost take it for granted, don't they? But for Bournemouth to be doing what they're doing, even Gary O'Neill now, it is punching above the weight, isn't it? To coin a boxing phrase.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is. We're just a small town, really. It's in the last sort of 20 years or 20 years ago, so I say, there wasn't really much sport in the town. It was just a holiday destination for most people. Obviously, excuse me, the football club was there, but it was obviously quite small. And now we've obviously grown huge amounts, and that's down to sort of the previous owner and Eddie Howe at the club over that 10-year period, getting from the very bottom of League Two to the Premier League, and now we've got obviously new owners, American owners, who are investing in the club and the facilities, and looking at doing a new stadium as well. So it's hugely exciting time to be a Bournemouth fan.
Will the fans inspire you, or is there a nervousness about it? How do you get nervous before a fight? I mean, I'm thinking the ring walk at the Vitality. I mean, you actually don't want to use up too much emotion, do you?
No, it's not about getting emotional. It's about just using that energy to fuel you. And that happened last year at the local Bournemouth International Centre when there was 3,500 people in there making absolute, making just such an atmosphere, which is just one I've never quite experienced in sport. But yeah, it was unbelievable there, and it's that hugely fueled me that night. So it's it's been amazing to have that support, and I think that's just what I've got to do on the night, is just let that fuel me and let it get me through any tough patches.
since we've been talking, I've been walking around the house. I kind of apologise, going Chris Billam-Smith, Chris Billam-Smith, but they actually give it. He's one of our own. He's one of our, don't they? But it's a good footballing chanty name you've got, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to work. Or football fans will find a way for any name to work. But it's crazy because as a 12, 13-year-old kid, when I had a season ticket there, I was just dreaming of playing on the pitch one day and having a 12, 13-year-old sing my name from that stand, having everyone in that stand sing my name, and it's a really surreal moment for me. And I'm so grateful to the fans because they've been absolutely superb and helped me live a little, childhood dream of mine of having my name chanted by thousands of people is some feeling, and I'm so appreciative of it. So yeah, it's been amazing to have them sing songs about me, and yeah, it's very special.
Do you think you're getting better as a fighter? I've spent a good deal of time watching your clips and your fights coming through, and the thing that strikes me, you're going back, maybe the Riakporhe fight, and then the knockout Zojai was unbelievable. Do you think you are developing as a fighter?
Yeah, for sure. It's always a long process in the pros. I think there's so much to learn. There's so much you can't get away with, and there's so many areas to your game you've got to work on. But I'm very fortunate to have, in my eyes, the best team in the world around me. In Shane McGuigan and the whole McGuigan family, they've been superb with me. We've developed myself as a fighter massively, and if you go back and watch my amateur fights, you wouldn't recognise my fighting style now because I get up close on the inside, and back then everything was rangy and long. But I've always been coachable and adaptable, and that's, I think, one of the best attributes you can have in boxing is being able to adapt and change your style when needed. And it's the progression's been great, and the strength and everything that comes with growing as an athlete is improving as well. So it's been a really good progression.
It is strange. You fought 300 rounds with Lawrence Okoli. He was in the McGuigan camp like yourself. I mean, your friends as well. It's a strange one, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, for sure. It was a bit strange at first. When Lawrence came out, and obviously we'd already asked Sky and Boxer about putting the fight on, and then Lawrence came out, and I was like, this is actually going to happen. So that was like a little bit strange. His strength coach used to be my strength coach as well. I've since last few fights I've changed strength coach, but so we have, he's a friend of mine, his strength coach. So it's a funny time, but it's business, and we get on well. But on fight night, we're going to be putting on a show for the fans, and that's the most important thing. Is a lot of negativity is going on as well in boxing at the moment, and this is a huge positive to take, and more people need to talk about it because there's a lot of good fights out there being made, but the negatives are getting focused on quite a lot. But this is huge. It's very rare that somebody leaves a gym and within a year of them leaving the gym and one fight of them leaving the gym, they're fighting an old stablemate for a world title. I'm not sure if it's ever been done. So it's an exciting time, especially as we're two Brits as well.
He's awkward, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very awkward. It's his best attribute, but it's also his worst attribute as well. It makes him, he's not very pleasing on the eye, but he is very awkward, very effective, and he knows how to win. No one's ever looked close to beating Lawrence. That's the thing that people need to remember, and I want them to remember going into this fight that he's never looked close to getting beat. Because then when I do beat him, I'll get all the respect I deserve.
In the build-up to the fight, it'll all be, they're both under Shane McGuigan. Has he got a tactical plan? And have he got a secret to combating his style? Or do you get involved in? Well, I guess you have to get involved with that to a certain extent, or is that a little sideshow, if you like?
No, it's in regards to the actual game plan, I've got to get involved in terms of having my input because I've been in the ring and Shane sees it from a third party view. So it's good to have four eyes on it and two brains working together on a game plan, and two brains that work very, very well together and have done throughout my career and our career working together. We've really understand Shane's coaching style, and I understand his what he wants, but he also understands that I am knowledgeable and some things might not work in there and I can't get certain things off. So it's important to work together. But with regards to, Shane does know Lawrence, so it's he knows him very well. So it's a huge benefit for me.
Does it hurt?
Does what hurt?
When you get whacked.
I've been asked this a few times in over the last sort of since I've been a pro. In fact, even as an amateur, and it doesn't. It genuinely doesn't. I think it's not like a sharp pain. Obviously you get hit with a few shots and you can get buzzed, but that's not a pain. It's sort of obviously like a disorientation for a split second. But the actual, it's not like a bone on bone, so it's not like a knock or like whacking your shin or something like that. So it's not a sharp pain, and also when you're in the moment, you don't think about that anyway. So I've felt a few punches in a fight where I've damaged a tendon in my knuckle, a few fights back, but even then, like, it was a split second, and then the adrenaline kicks in and you're ready to go again. So it's not it doesn't. It's weird to say, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt.
At the same time, I mean, the knockout of Zozai. Do you feel that? Do you know when you've absolutely nailed one? You think, poof.
Yeah, I mean that's the first time I've ever knocked anyone out like that. I've usually stopped people, or or the ref jumped in. Or waved it off before as they've got up, or whatever it may be. So I celebrated like I normally would, and it was a bit of a mad one for me because it's a new experience. But yeah, I think once I hit him, I guess I kind of did. I knew something because I didn't hit him again. So, and I had the opportunity to, but I knew something there, and it was a mad knockout, and hopefully he's okay.
How'd you come down from? I mean, you're going to be the centre of world attention. You're going to be in front of your home fans. You're fighting the adrenaline. How'd you get down? How'd you come back to be Chris Billam-Smith after all that shenanigan?
Yeah, it usually takes a few weeks because you've got a lot of hype around the fight and the backlash of it in terms of media and people who are at the fight will see you around and stuff. But for me, I just want to spend as much time as I can with my family after a fight, and they're proud of me, and that's at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. Obviously, I've got my own goals and stuff I want to do, but it's not the boxing doesn't define who I am as a person, and I think I try and remember that as much as possible, and stick to that, and just try and enjoy myself, spend as much time with friends and family after the fight as possible, and not get too caught up with any fame as such. But it's quite easy to do, I think, in our gym, because it's expected of you that you're going to win a world title. That's sort of an expectation in the gym. So I've always known that, and I sort of come from no amateur background, and I guess this is the biggest jump anyone's ever made from when they've joined Shane, is no real amateur background in terms of no Olympics, no international fights or anything like that to world champions. So it's it's a huge jump. And I mean, when you're in the gym and you've got Barry McGuigan there, who's a Hall of Fame boxer, unified a whole nation when he was fighting, had 20 million people watching his fights. It's very easy to stay humble because you're never going to achieve what Barry achieved in his career and become as much of a legend as he has. So it's very easy to stay humble, which is nice to have those people around you. And also, I'm not going to be Shane's first world champion, and I'm not going to be his last either. So it's going to be it's very easy to stay grounded, and I think that's important when you've got a team like that around you, to have that team there and keep you grounded.
I think Barry and I sang together going back in the day, back in the Sky
Yeah.
Sport. Sky Sport say, yeah, good singer, Barry. His dad was a good singer.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic singer as well. Yeah, I think we've swapped a few tunes or two of us now. Anyway, listen, do you know what's nailed on for you, in my humble opinion? TV, when you finish. Co-commentary on the boxing, analysis on the boxing. Is it something you've considered? Because if you haven't,
for sure. Yeah, I've thought about it. Yeah, I'd like that. I've done a few gigs for Sky over the years. I've done,
the other days you did very well. Definitely something you should look at.
Yeah, thank you. And I've got my podcast, which I'm starting back up, Perfect Athlete Podcast, which gonna sort of rebranding that and doing a video and stuff. I've got some exciting guests coming on. Got my mate Aaron Ramsdale has agreed to come on, so whether that be before or after he becomes Premier League champion, I'm not sure yet. But that's something I love doing. I just love all sport, to be honest. And I'd love to stay in the TV side and do some punditry and stuff like that. And Sky have been good and given me a few gigs here and there, so I'm grateful for that as well.
Are you going to win?
Absolutely, I can't not. I feel unbeatable at the moment, and I know with that crowd behind me, I'm going to feel $1 million, and that is just going to drive me on. But I've got to keep that mentality through camp, and that's the key. And it's just too big an opportunity not to take with both hands, and it's going to be a very special night on May 27th.